Hello everyone and welcome back to another GTA 5 drift build video, and today's weapon of choice is going to be the Comet Retro Custom, a high powered German beast that can absolutely tear it up through the corners. Now in today's video I'm going to be giving you the ins and outs of this car with all of the tips and tricks you need to drift it, alongside my drift build for the car, which will give you all the performance upgrades you need to really make this thing slide. If you do enjoy today's video or find it helpful, please do leave a like down below and subscribe for more. It would help me out massively, and as well consider checking out my playlist in the top right if you're interested in other drifting content on my channel. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Now to start us off, I'm going to be giving you a few tips and tricks to keep in mind with drifting this car that you really want to keep in mind to get the most out of the build. Now the drift build will take you only so far if you don't have the right technique or you're doing the wrong things. The build is quite effective, I think, but the car is still on the more challenging side. It's got quite inconsistent twitchy handling and it is very high powered, so it's prone to spinning out. So really there are three main things I want to just quickly cover to just get you to really keep in the back of your mind while you're drifting this car, and just things to consider while you're practicing drifting with this car. I'm going to go ahead and be talking about counter steering, throttle control, and the mid-drive speed boost or clutch kick, and how really it impacts you drifting this car. I'm going to talk about the first two kind of together here in one because they pretty much link with each other. So in terms of counter steering, as you can see while I'm drifting, you can see me wiggling my wheel left and right to really try and get the car to stick to a smooth straight line and get a nice smooth drift going through the corners. This is achieved through counter steering, so I cover all of this more in depth. I'm not going to go full in depth on this in my drift guide, but counter steering, you're going to want to go ahead and just make sure that you get a good amount of practice in, maybe around some smaller sections or something with it, just to get a feel with how it is for this car in particular. The reason I stress it with this car is because, as I said, it's quite high powered, but its handling is very twitchy. So 1 minute you're going to be turning in and the car's going to be wanting to straighten out on you, it's kind of prone to doing that, and the next it's going to want to kick out like crazy and spin out. Goes hand in hand with throttle control, because if you have a decent angle going through the corner but you've got too much power down, the car is going to kick out and spin out from under you. You're going to lose control of it. It is a very delicate car, you know, it needs to be handled kind of in the right way as you take it through corners. You just have to have the right amount of throttle, the right amount of steering input. All of those things come together to really allow you to drift this thing effectively. There's no real solid way I can give you an explanation as how to do this, how to do it well, other than practice. You know, practice is key. If you go ahead and just try it out, you know, play around with the car a little bit and really get a feel for how it is, you'll start getting used to it and you'll just improve at it. You know, it is a challenging car, don't get me wrong. It might be frustrating at the start, but you know, you'll pick up on it quickly. I have a little bit extra on this later with the build itself and some things you can do with the build to actually make this process a lot easier, but I'm going to cover that later. Now the next thing I just want to stress here is the clutch kick, mid-drive speed boost, or double clutch. Reason I'm just mentioning it, as some of you will know, it is an essential skill for drifting in general, and to really get those long chain together drifts going together and make it flow really smoothly. But the reason I'm mentioning it for this car in particular is because it can feel a little inconsistent at times with initiating it. It feels a little bit off with the timing in comparison to the Rapid GT. I feel like you have to engage it slightly earlier than in some of those other higher powered cars kind of in the same class bracket. So yeah, it's just a little bit different. You might want to get in a bit of practice with it too. If you don't know how to do the mid-drive speed glitch or the clutch kick, go ahead and check out the guide in the top right. But it's a key skill for drifting this car you will need to use, and as well with this car, once you do get the hang of the timing down, you can actually get some really nice long drifts together, because you can link this thing together like crazy. Once you know you've done it once, you know, you wait a couple of seconds seconds, hit it again, this car will glide like butter through the corners. It's mental. But yeah, just keep in mind those few things there while you're drifting the car, and hopefully it will help you out and, you know, just make the learning process a little bit easier. But anyways, let's get into the build. Now, to get the Comet Retro Custom, you need to go ahead and go to the Benny's website or the Legendary Motorsport website, where you're gonna have to pay for the normal Pfister Comet for 100 grand, and then you're gonna need to take it to Benny's, where you're gonna have to upgrade it for the Retro Custom variant, and then from there you'll be able to do it up in a normal mod shop or the Benny's workshop. But anyways, let's start off with the essentials for the tune. For the brakes, I would go ahead and leave them stock. Upgrading them isn't going to benefit your ability to drift and will hinder you if you're trying any kind of crazy entry style, so just go ahead and leave them stock. For your engine tunes, go ahead and max it out. Better power is going to benefit you greatly. For the spoiler, go ahead and pick whatever you want. Normally, I'd advise you to stay away from spoilers, but it seems on this car there doesn't seem to be a traction bonus to adding a spoiler, so you can pick what you like. I don't notice any difference. For suspension, I would recommend the sport suspension, as it manages to have lower grip on the car once stanced, but also allows you to maintain a bit more control than the competition suspension. In terms of transmission, go ahead and upgrade it all the way to the max, as it's going to make your clutch kick way more powerful and easier to engage, which is going to be key for longer chain drifts. For your turbo, I would recommend equipping one after you have the hang of the car. If you're a bit newer to it, you haven't used this car before, maybe you want to consider practicing without the turbo on it, just so you can get a feel for the car in a bit of an easier, more controllable state. Then once you get the hang of it, then equip the turbo on it. It's pretty much the same kind of handling and everything, but it'll just be a bit harder to control. Now, in terms of wheel choice, you can pick whatever you like. If you want the ones I'm using, it's these forged 5 rims in the track category. But your wheel choice, the wheel type, will not affect your car's traction in terms of its ability to drift. However, in terms of tire enhancements, the key thing here is you do not want to equip bulletproof tires. Bulletproof tires are going to remove the ability for you to stance your car, which you need to do if you want to be drifting non-tuners DLC cars such as this. To stance your car, shoot the bottom half of your wheel or shoot the edges of your wheel arches on every side of the car where your wheel is, so you need to do it at all 4 points on the car. Once you've done that, the car will be physically lowered down. You'll see it drop down a couple times, and then after you've done that, the car's going to have a reduced traction effect similar to that of the low grip tires. This is absolutely key to be drifting these sorts of cars. The rest of the upgrades from here are cosmetic in case you want to replicate my build. So I went with 20% armor, I went with the secondary color front bumper, I went with the stock rear bumper, I went with the extreme billet strut brace, chrome tip exhaust, stock fenders in the fenders options, no hood accessories, went with the ducted hood, in terms of interior I went with the stock trim, didn't equip a sun strip, carbon dash in the stripped down interior, I went with the stock dials, stock doors, carbon sport seats, stock steering wheel, ice white light color, and the padded dash dodger cage. Now in terms of livery, I didn't equip one, and for license plate I went with the yellow and black plate. The color I used on both primary and secondary was the classic silver color. In terms of the side skirts, I went with stock skirts. Spoiler was the drift spoiler. The window tint was light smoke, and the tire enhancements I had black smoke black tire smoke. Wheels are the forged 5 rims in the track section in the gold color. But hopefully you did enjoy today's build. Let me know what your thoughts are on it down below. If you did find this guide helpful or useful, please do drop a like down below and consider subscribing for more. Don't forget to check out my playlist in the top right. But that is all from me today. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.